7. Do you know why there are only 7 days in a week? Let me tell you. Thousands of years ago, the Babylonians didn't have a watch or a phone to tell the time, so they'd look up to the planets and their positions to guess it. They saw 7 planets, including the sun and the moon, so they made every planet a god. They assigned one god to every hour of the day, and eventually they even gave a whole day to each. That's how we ended up with 7 days for 7 gods. Moon Day, Mars Day, Mercury Day, Jupiter Day, Venus Day, Saturn Day, and Sunday. This week system got so popular that it spread to Spain, India, and even the North Pole. Other cultures like the Egyptians tried to change it to 10 days, but failed. Because most countries were happy with 7 days. So next time you feel like your week is too long or your weekend was too short, just remember, it could have been much longer had we had followed the Egyptians. That's 1 minute. See you tomorrow.
Crazy facts about Google. Google was originally called Backrub. On average, Google buys one company a week. The first Google server was built from Lego blocks. There's over 2 million searches per minute.
Probably the strangest thing you ever heard in your life. In 1954, a flight number 513 was flying safely from Germany to Brazil. The duration of the flight is normally 18 hours. There were 92 passengers in addition to the flight crew. After a few hours from the departure, there was no communication with the airplane, and suddenly it vanished into thin air. It never landed and it never crashed. The weirdest thing in history happened after 35 years. The same plane landed in Brazil, and when the plane was inspected, they found 92 skeletons with the skeleton driving the airplane. This is insane, and
Many people have had their driver's license for several years. However, they can judge the distance from the car in front. In fact, just remember my 4 points. Whether you are male or female. Fine. Legal safety achievements. Learn to make you an old driver right away. First, when the vehicle can't see the car in front, step on the brake immediately when the upper edge of the rear bumper. In this way, the front of the car is just 1 meter away from the car in front. At the same time, if you want to drive out, as long as the steering wheel is killed, you can go out immediately. Second, we just need to keep an eye on the bottom edge, including stepping on the brake immediately when the lower edge of the road teeth coincides. At this time, the distance is just 30 centimeters. Similarly, if there is a horse behind it, look at the door handle in front from the rear view mirror. When the door handle coincides with the road teeth, apply the brake immediately. At this time, the distance is just 50 centimeters. Third, when driving alongside, keep an eye on the knuckle position of the wiper. When it coincides with the road surface, align the steering wheel. At this time, it is just 30 centimeters away from the road teeth. Fourth, when leaving the warehouse, wait until your shoulder exceeds the speed of the stone next to you. No matter which direction you go, you can pass safely right away. Follow me to the home page to learn more about cars.
You know how the dollar is made? These cotton growing in the field is the raw material for the production of dollars. Dollars made of plain paper are too susceptible to damage, and the dollars made from cotton don't break easily. Ink absorption is good and not easy to fade, but cotton alone is not enough. So in the manufacturing process, they will also add 25% flax, the hemp fiber in flax. It is a kind of high strength and low elongation fiber. It has the advantage of being strong, tough and lint-free, have a certain resistance to water and oil. To remove the sticky substance from the flax, they put a lot of flax into this crop. A large washing machine from the 1930s. This machine can clean 5 tons of flax at a time. They added the right amount of odd base to it, and the flax inside is heated. Rinse at 175 degrees centigrade for 5 hours. When the hatch is opened, high-pressure steam gush out from that vessel. The worker caught the burning flax on the ground with the forklift. Throw it into water to pulp. The machine then drains the pulp of water. Press them into coarse hemp, and then cut it into squares. Then the good linen and cotton will be made together in a giant mixing tank. After 5 hours of thorough stirring, mix them into a pulp for making dollars. Mixed pulp being piped to the back of this red curtain. Only a few dozen people in the world have a mandate. You can go behind the red curtain. Behind the red curtain, the only part that can be filmed is this gate. Several rollers press the fibers of cotton and flax, dry them and combine them together. Finally, it forms a sheet 2.5 meters wide, 32 kilometers of paper roll. At the same time, the anti-counterfeiting mark will also be printed on the paper. For example, This is made by head of President Jackson, made of mixed fibers. In addition to the head, the security thread will also be printed on it. When ultraviolet radiation is used, the safe thread will fluoresce, and then the machines cut them to the right size. To the printing office in Washington. Proceed to the next step. Here the paper first carries on the offset printing. The machine prints a background layer on the paper. The paper then enters the gravure press. The die steel plate of the printing machine is printed with the pattern of paper money. The rollers in the machine use special ink, cover the entire mold. When the machine starts, a pressure of 20 tons is applied to the die steel plate. The ink in the groove is transferred onto the paper. This machine prints $20 denominations. It could be in an hour. To produce $12 million worth of paper money. The workers would then pick and inspect at random. Even a little bit of a mistake, they will destroy whole batches of paper money. Paper that has passed the test. It will be stored in a vault. Let stand for 72 hours. Let the ink on the paper dry naturally. After the air drying, these dollars are not real bills yet. The worker will then assign a different serial number, printed on each paper, and then the banknote cutters are set in groups of 100, cut and stacked together. The machine at the rear and pack it. Each dollar produced in this way, we can send it to the bank. Now you've learned.
Real reason why the US does not want to send troops to Ukraine. The moment US and NATO troops get caught up in a war with Russia, China will seize the opportunity to attack and take over Taiwan, because China knows that the US and its allies would not be able to fight a successful war at the same time in Asia and Europe. This would spread Western troops thin across both continents, and renders its military ineffective to fight China and Russia at the same time. Taiwan is very important to the West because of its chips and solid-state device manufacturing. As a matter of fact, the US depends on Taiwan heavily for various chips that give the US a technological and military edge over China. China taking over Taiwan can change the world power status of the United States, and this is part of the consideration why the US does not want to send troops to Ukraine.